Russian assault unit storms Ukrainian forest position in fierce close-quarters battle. A newly surfaced combat video captures an intense engagement in which a group of Russian troops successfully assaulted and captured a Ukrainian defensive position hidden deep within a forest. The footage offers a vivid and unfiltered look into one of the many small-scale but highly violent clashes that continue to define the frontline fighting between Russian and Ukrainian forces. The video opens with Russian troops advancing cautiously along a dirt road leading into a dense forested area. The soldiers, armed with automatic rifles, grenade launchers, and machine guns, move in coordinated formations, maintaining spacing and covering each other's movements as they approach the suspected Ukrainian position. Their pace is deliberate, each step echoing the awareness that enemy eyes may already be watching from behind the thick foliage ahead. As they near the edge of the forest, the atmosphere grows heavier. The troops pause briefly to scan the area. Intelligence reports had earlier detected Ukrainian activity in this sector, prompting the Russian unit to execute a planned clearing operation. Communication remains constant through radios, with the squad leader issuing commands to ensure synchronization among the advancing soldiers. Moments later, the calm shatters. Gunfire erupts from concealed Ukrainian positions. Bullets snap through the air, striking trees and tearing through leaves as Russian troops immediately take cover and return fire. The forest becomes an echo chamber of chaos. Automatic fire, shouts of commands, and explosions of grenades create a deadly cacophony. Ukrainian troops, entrenched dug foxholes, unleash a fierce resistance to halt the advancing Russian unit. The Russian soldiers, however, respond with calculated aggression. Moving between trees and using natural cover, they unleash suppressive fire while a flanking team maneuvers to encircle the Ukrainian defenders. The sound of rifle bursts grows closer as the engagement shifts from long-range exchanges to brutal close-quarters combat. Branches snap, smoke thickens, and visibility drops as both sides struggle for dominance in the confined forest terrain. Despite facing a counterattack from Ukrainian troops attempting to repel the assault, the Russian soldiers maintain their offensive momentum. Coordination and discipline prove decisive. One team provides covering fire while another pushes forward, gradually closing the distance to the Ukrainian positions. Several grenades are thrown into defensive holes, followed by bursts of gunfire that silence remaining resistance points. The fighting is short but extremely intense. Within minutes, Russian troops manage to overrun the Ukrainian defensive line. The camera captures the aftermath. A few surviving Ukrainian soldiers, visibly disoriented and wounded, are seen being taken captive. Their resistance, though fierce, was ultimately overwhelmed by the coordinated Russian assault. The troops proceed to sweep the area methodically, clearing trenches and makeshift bunkers to ensure no threats remain. Once the sector is fully secured, the unit establishes temporary defensive positions in the newly captured forest stronghold. The successful operation highlights the ongoing tactical adaptation of Russian ground forces in forested and rugged terrain areas where visibility is low and maneuvering is difficult. The use of coordinated small unit tactics, rapid flanking maneuvers, and close support fire prove key to achieving victory in this engagement. This battle underscores the unrelenting nature of the conflict on the front lines, where both sides continue to clash in brutal, close-range confrontations over strategic positions. The footage not only reveals the bravery and discipline required of soldiers in such conditions but also paints a haunting picture of the human cost of modern warfare, where every forest, road, and trench can turn into a deadly battleground. The next victims of mobilization decided to surrender during the attack near the village of Murtsilovo, without putting up any resistance. During the conversation with the prisoners, it was revealed that they had been thrown out of Bradley at a sufficient distance from the positions. The enemy group of 6 people had been walking to the positions for 2 days, and then they had been at the positions for 3 days. They had no communication with their command, and no clear orders had been given. In fact, the mobilized soldiers were sent to the front lines and left to their fate without any instructions or support. This is the attitude of the Ukrainian armed forces leadership towards their soldiers. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. Units of the Sever group of forces improve the tactical situation. Russian troops inflicted losses on 1 infantry brigade, 1 air assault brigade, 1 assault regiment of the AFU, 1 territorial defense brigade, and 1 border detachment of the Ukrainian State Border Guard Service near Korchakhovka, Sadki, Andriivka, Senoy, Strelitskaya Pushkarka, and Proletarskoye, Sumy region. In Kharkov direction, units of 1 mechanized brigade and 1 infantry brigade of the AFU have been hit near Volchansk and Dergachi, Kharkov region. Up to 205 troops, 1 armored fighting vehicle, 12 motor vehicles, and 5 artillery guns, including 2 Western-made artillery guns, have been neutralized. 1 electronic warfare station, 2 ammunition depots, and 2 material depots were destroyed. Units of the Zapad group of forces took more advantageous lines and positions. 4 mechanized brigades of the AFU have been hit near Kupiansk, Monokonovka, Kharkov region, Drobyshevo, and Yarovaya, Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy losses amounted to more than 230 troops, 1 tank, 4 armored fighting vehicles, 23 motor vehicles, and 3 artillery guns, including 2 Western-made artillery guns. 5 electronic warfare stations and 5 ammunition depots were neutralized. The Yi Group's units liberated Pleshchievka, Donetsk People's Republic, as a result of intensive offensive actions. Russian troops inflicted losses on formations of 2 mechanized brigades, 1 mountain assault brigade, 1 assault brigade of the AFU, 1 special operations brigade, and 1 territorial defense brigade close to Drushkovka, Konstantinovka, Svyatopokrovskoye, Pozino, and Berstok, Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 195 troops, 4 armored fighting vehicles, 13 motor vehicles, and 4 artillery guns. 2 electronic warfare stations, 4 ammunition depots, and 3 material depots were neutralized. The Center Group's units took more advantageous lines and positions, inflicted losses on manpower and hardware of 4 mechanized brigades, 1 air assault brigade, 1 assault brigade of the AFU, 1 territorial defense brigade, and 3 National Guard brigades close to Artyomovka, Teretskoye, Shevchenko, Novoalexandrovka, Petrovskoye, Udaknoye, and Krasnoarmysk, Donetsk People's Republic. The AFU losses amounted to up to 580 troops, 1 armored fighting vehicle, 5 motor vehicles, and 1 artillery gun. The Vostok Group's units continue to advance to the depths of the enemy's defense. 3 mechanized brigades and 1 assault regiment of the AFU have been hit near Uspanovka, Poltavka, Zaporozhye region, Podgavrilovka, and Pokrovskoye, Dnipropetrovsk region. The enemy lost more than 280 troops, 1 tank, 1 armored fighting vehicle, 14 motor vehicles, 1 MLRS, 1 Western-made artillery gun, and 2 electronic warfare stations. The Dnepr Group's units inflicted losses on manpower and hardware of 2 mechanized brigades, 2 coastal defense brigades of the AFU, and 2 territorial defense brigades near Novoandriivka, Stepnogorsk, Primorskoye, Zaporozhye region, Sadavoy, and Lobo, Kherson region. More than 75 servicemen, 1 armored fighting vehicle, 13 motor vehicles, 3 electronic warfare stations, 1 ammunition depot, and 1 material depot were neutralized. Operational tactical aviation, attack drones, missile troops and artillery of the Russian groups of forces have inflicted damage on the transport infrastructure, Ukrainian military industry enterprises that support the actions of the AFU, a training center for drone operators of then Main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine, a UAV production and assembly workshop, the AFU air defense radar station, as well as temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations in 156 areas. Air defense systems shot down 4 guided aerial bombs, 6 U.S.-made HIMARS MLRS projectiles, and 140 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the enemy has lost 667 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 90,877 unmanned aerial vehicles, 633 anti-aircraft missile systems, 25,557 tanks and other armored fighting vehicles, 1,603 MLRS combat vehicles, 30,564 field artillery guns and mortars, 44,265 support military vehicles.